Greetings, my friends, my family of friends and students around the world. And of course, we're not really a family, but we certainly are a community. And some of you have been so kind that I almost feel that way in your kindness to me and perhaps in how I've been able to help you with some of the things that might be helpful and useful to you. So today we're having one of our weekly check-ins where I try and do a little teach-about. It's going to be less than 10 minutes. In fact, it may even be just a 5-minute thought about that might be helpful and useful to you. I certainly hope so. One of the things that I want to encourage you to do is, as I always do, keep learning, keep teaching people what you've learned, and then finally take the step where you yourself are teaching people your ideas and what you have created. Now, one of my classes that you might want to look at is simply called, the freedom and the future and the money belongs to the entrepreneur. And that's kind of a catchy title, but when you get into it, you find out right off the bat, I make a rather challenging statement. And of course, that's part of good marketing. Challenge people. As I say, we're here to figure out what it takes, and every one of my What It Takes classes is also a challenge class. That means that I'll challenge you, and you may not necessarily agree, but then you have to deal with the challenge. And the subtitle of this class is God Wants You to Be an Entrepreneur. Now that meant to challenge you. Some of you would say, well, I don't believe in God. Okay, but now you've been challenged. Some of you say, what do you mean God wants me to be an entrepreneur? I don't believe that. Okay, I put those things out there and you're challenged. You have to think about it. You have to come up with your particular position on it. And that's always good for us. That's how we go and grow. I've discovered that just being in front of somebody and having them talk to me is not usually the best way for me to learn and then perhaps to earn by changing. It's when someone takes the information and puts it in front of me in such a way that challenges me, so I have to deal with it, think about it, discover whether I think it's right or wrong, and then discover and design how I might deal with it and actually do one of those rare things. We talk about taking action a lot. Well, unfortunately, most of us talk rather than take action. As one of my colleagues said to me, he said, Stan, isn't it true? We do a lot of teaching, we do a lot of thinking, we do a lot of talking, we do all of those things. But action is rare. Action is rare. Well, I'm hoping that in our own lives and our own experiences, action will become less and less rare as we learn, and then as we share, and as we create good and new things. Now, that's why I said God wants you to be an entrepreneur, because I believe we are made to create things. And what an entrepreneur does, they create something. They create a new product. They create a new business. They create a new service. The entrepreneur is not just somebody who takes somebody else's idea and franchises it, takes somebody else's product and retails it, takes somebody else's idea and steals it and does it in their own way. And that may be what some people do. But an entrepreneur is a creator of something. Now, one of the things I'm going to ask you to think about, you're learning a whole lot of other things. You're perhaps learning some new things that you didn't know before. Now you can do something, or you can do something differently, or you can design something. You can react and behave and perhaps teach something. All of that is good. But what I'm going to ask you to do, and many of you have heard about this, what is called the maker movement. And the idea is that a lot of us do things that we're told to do. A lot of us speak things that we're taught to speak. As I say, we oftentimes manage things, and we message things, and we market things, and we say things, and we sell things. What do we create? And I believe that the entrepreneurial way is not just a way to live, it's a way to think. And one of the conclusions I come to is God may not want you to be an entrepreneur, but I'm reasonably sure that it would be a good thing for you to always think like an entrepreneur. Whether you're working for somebody else or whether you're working for a large company, whatever, in terms of your life and your business and your career and your spirit, think like an entrepreneur. Always be thinking, how can I be creating new things? One of the men who I know who's been very successful says that what he tries to do is at least every week he sits down in his thought and meditation time. By the way, most successful people do that. Are you aware of that? They take time for thought and meditation. And he says, I try and come up with 20 business ideas. Just 20 things that I discovered that someone ought to fix this, someone ought to do this. Wouldn't it be nice too? Now, 99% of them, he says, probably aren't doable, or I can't do them, and I don't know anybody who can. But it's an incredibly good exercise. What kind of businesses or what kind of solutions perhaps I could create? I'd like you to take that challenge. Again, God wants you to be an entrepreneur because I believe this is true. The freedom and the future and the money will go to the entrepreneur. And I mean more than money in the sense of income. Other good income things. One of the things that we think about as an entrepreneur is income is not just revenue. Income is relationships, creativity, knowledge, happiness. All of those are income things that we seek in the entrepreneurial life. Well, one of the reasons you are taking classes and courses is so that you can learn more. And I hope that you will earn more because of that, and what you will do, because you're going to discover that what it takes is that you learn how to be a maker and a creator. Why don't you just think about that this week, and as we go into the month of May, why don't you see, maybe May is where I discover how I can be more of a maker, more of a creator, and more of an entrepreneur. All the best and blessings to you. I'm Stan Hustad for What It Takes. Until next time, bye for now.